Guys, I'm Tyron Woodley, and you're watching Celebrity Sweat.
The chosen one, Woodley!
Welcome to Celebrity Sweat, and what a show we have for you today. We are going to be talking about and hearing from the man himself, Tyron Woodley, champion of the UFC welterweight division. Billy, I know you're a big Tyron Woodley fan. What do you think, man? Are you excited?
I'm excited, man. This guy's an awesome fighter. You know, he's been training for a certain period of years, and he's won the world championship several times, and can't wait to see what he's all about.
Well, being at the top of your game requires obviously a lot of hard work and dedication, and from somebody who definitely knows what it's like to be at the top of the game, you've won numerous medals in international competition and many other competitions. What's it like to have the fighter's mindset, and how do you take that as a daily basis?
Well, I think especially a fighter who fights in the UFC, you know, they don't have to be just karate guys or jiu-jitsu men. They have to be a total athlete. They have to be that first, so they have to physically get their bodies in good shape. And then once they get in super good shape, then they start to train in grappling, then they start to do stand-up fighting. They do all sorts of things to make sure they're at the top of their game, because if they don't be at the top of their game, in the UFC, the athletes are so awesome about working out.
Right.
It changes and changes and changes. So Tyron has to be on the top of his game, even in his training. Because if he's not there in his training, then when he goes to the ring, he's not going to be able to put out and do the things he wants to do.
Definitely. And one of the first things you could see when you look at a guy like Tyron is that he's got a great figure. He's a really strong guy. There's no surprise to that. Thinking about the physical sense in one end, and then you have the mental side of the other thing, how does it feel to have two different ends of that, and what could you tell yourself on fight days, weeks before a fight, to keep yourself mentally in the right place? Because that's hard.
Yeah, well, especially being that type of athlete. I think, one, when you look like a Superman, that makes you mentally feel strong.
Right.
And then you do the work that makes you feel like that. Like he runs, he lifts weights, he does everything that can make his body be in super shape and make it look good, because the public wants to see a great body as well as a great fighter. So he works on that, and then he goes into this like an athlete, like a sprinter. He got to do all his sprints. He got to do all his weight training like weightlifters. He got to do all his speed training like boxers. So he's universal when it comes to, you know, a total athlete. And then he got to push that to the side, bring into the camp boxing, karate, jiu-jitsu, wrestling. They got to taper all that stuff, man, and make sure it's right on time. And then they peak right on time, so when they get ready to get out there to fight, they don't run out of gas. They don't just panic. They go right to what they've been training for the 7 to 8 weeks that they train.
It sounds like that's kind of where Tybo came from. Did Tybo come from the full body strength needed and cardio needed from fighting? Is that where it came from?
Well, you know, Tybo came from me actually being a fighter. You know, as a martial artist, when I retired, I wanted to be able to take my martial arts ability and turn it into something that can help people. And when you're doing martial arts training, you're doing boxing, all of it, most people think fighters are just physical. But they're not. They're really mental and spiritual, because in order for them to get in good shape, they have to have peace in the inside. If they don't have peace in the inside, then nowhere in the world can go out there in the ring and fight. So when you look at Tyron, you go, man, why is this guy so calm? Why is he so peaceful? Because he understands, you know, the battle that he had to do to get to, before he fights. He understands that battle of training. So once he's done that training, when he gets ready to go into the ring and fight, he's at peace with himself. Then he can get out there and do what he needs to do to compete.
25 miles on a bike, 6 a.m. Took a nice little quick break, took a shower, ate some breakfast. Now, we had ATTL Richmond. She did my 5 rounds of sparring. Good southpaw, good wrestling abilities, especially defensively. It's hard, very difficult to take them down. You gotta really map it out, set it up, and execute it without flaws, or you won't get it. You exhaust yourself trying, or you end up in a situation where you get reversed. So I didn't take a lot of shots, but the ones I took, I was intentional in trying to get, just because I know how difficult. I feel like if I can take him down in training with big gloves on, it'd be, I'm not gonna say a cakewalk, but it'd be a lot easier to take Kobe down, taking his ass down.
And one of the biggest things, and in my opinion, one of the most challenging things is when you get to that top level. When Tyron has his belt, when you're winning your gold medals in international competition, there are always people gunning for the top, and
All
they
the
want to
time.
take you down because they want your spot.
That's right.
Right. So what is the hardest thing about being on the top and then realizing somebody wants to knock you down? Because that's tough, man.
I think the hardest thing for a lot of fighters, and it wasn't hard for me, and when you look at some of these UFC fighters, the great ones, it's not hard for them either because they humble themselves before their craft. And I think when you look at Tyron, he humbles himself before his craft, so he knows he got to go out there and train, because if he don't, there's somebody's always knocking at the door to pull that belt. And he trains. When you say he got to sacrifice, I don't think he sacrificed. He loves what he's doing. And when you love what you're doing, you don't have to sacrifice. You just go do what you need to do, and then you walk out being a champion.
My homie asked me where my belt's at, and I just want you guys to know this. I'm not doing this to flex. My belts have been in my closet, underneath the bottom, right above where my shoe rack is at. When I want it, I put them in there. If you see me with a belt, and I hate to break the news to you, if you see me with a belt at a radio station or something like that, it's never my actual belt. It's always a replica belt. So these belts, I've never taken out the case. I've never looked at them after I won them. They never been put up. But my homie asked me about my belts, and I was like, I don't know, they in the closet somewhere. Fuck it. I'ma just fucking take them out. It'd be a reminder for myself. It'd also be a reminder for all these people that's talking shit, that think I'm sweet, that think it's a joke. Okay? These are real belts, so this ain't that interim shit in the meantime, in between time. This the belt that the fighter of the year back to back, Robbie Lawler. This is Wonder Boy when people couldn't beat him and I had to do it twice. This is Damian Maia, 7-fight win streak, and has taken down 12 opponents and was 0 for 20 against me.
Now, Tyron, as far as striking goes, what are your favorite strikes and what are the best ones to defend yourself?
Oh, you know, for me, I always like to throw a lot of straight punches. You know, I save the looping punches when I see my opponent kind of tenderize or it look like he's ready to go.
Right.
Then I might go into some hooks, some uppercuts, or some overhand rights. I don't usually just lead with those punches because you kind of open yourself up. So I like to lead with speed and end with power.
I like it. I like it. Can we demonstrate on Dean? I mean, he seems like a nice guy. He's today's Ookie.
Just don't hurt me.
We won't hurt you. Are you
But
kidding?
You can demonstrate on me. I'm good.
Trainers unite, my friend.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
First thing I like to do is I like to try to utilize my body to kind of threaten him that I'm going to take him down. Since I got a wrestling background, most of the people assume that I'm probably either going to take him down or hit him with a hard shot.
Right.
So the body motion that I give usually could either be for a shot here or me coming in here. So I like to give my body motion like I'm going to actually attempt for a takedown or attempt for this. And like he just did, it usually make them drop their hands. When their hands drop, now it allows me to hit them with combinations in high volume. So if I do that, at some point they're gonna have to bring those hands back up to protect themselves. Most fighters, most boxers, if I'm punching them with fast punches, they're gonna protect themselves that way. And what it does is leave me open and come right over here, and that's when I actually throw my overhand right and go for the knockout.
Whoa.
So
Crazy.
Kind of use my body again, use my body, come up punching, boom. And if that doesn't do the job and he's still around, then I just try to work around. So this is a guard. I want to punch straight because I'm not going to get any punches in.
Right.
If I was to work around the guard, so he has a guard up, do it this way we can see it. Right here, this shot is not available. This shot is not available. So there's no point in me doing this. So from this point, I'm looking to go outside, maybe inside, and one of those shots should get the job done.
All right, Billy. Well, we've watched many fights. Actually, together we've watched so many UFC fights, boxing fights, any kind of fights. We've been there together, wrestling. I do have to ask you a question. Now, there is very, very much a mental focus and a very, very strong relation to timing with boxing and with fighting and with wrestling. What is the relationship with timing, and how does somebody work on their timing to improve on it?
Well, as a fighter, you know, especially timing, because when somebody's offensing on you, you got to have the defense to be able to pick it up. Just like football, you know, just like football, baseball, you got to have offense as well as defense. So the timing game is about picking up the rhythm. of a person attacking or playing defense so I can counter. I want to counterattack what they're doing to me. So you work on it. You do reflex drills, you do power drills, you do speed drills. You just do time. You can even do it with music. You can even do it on a bike. You can even do it running. You can even do it with weights. It's all about making sure you have a rhythm and you understand how to pick up a person's rhythm so you can counter attack what they do.
And then the hardest part, which was what obviously I haven't been in a fight like you have, but with the fighters, one of the things that it's really, really interesting to notice is that it's not always about what the fighter does. It's sometimes about the reaction and not always the action. So you have to sometimes be ready for what they're going to throw you because you don't even know what they're going to do. And you have to always be ready for any type of counter that can be ready. How do you train and how would a guy like Tyron focus as to working against specific opponents? And what happens if they throw things that you're not familiar with?
Well, when you watch Tyron train, you know, he works on speed training. And speed training is very important to offense, you know, not to hesitate, because anytime you start to do a move and you start to have a doubt about doing it, especially in the game that these guys fight, then you're gonna get countered and somebody's gonna take you out. But what they do is if they're gonna offense on you, they're gonna totally commit to it. So what do? Let me do some weight training. Let me do some push-ups. Anything that's gonna help them build up their speed and build up their confidence, because you gotta be able to take all that stuff and tie it in,
right,
and make it all work together. So they do push-ups, sit-ups, weight training, sprints, running up hills, running down hills, so they can understand how a relaxed muscle can pick up speed or hit second gear, because they need that in their fighting, because fighting 3-round, 5-minute rounds, that's a lot. And when you go into the championship round, what Tyron does, he got to go 5 rounds. He got to go 5-minute rounds and do it 5 times.
Plus, think about this. All it takes is 1 second for you to be off cue, and then you take that knockout and you're done. So you got to be really ready for 25 minutes out of 25 minutes, or if it's 3 rounds, 15 minutes and 15 minutes. If you miss a step for a second, that could be the end of it, right?
Oh, definitely. And that's why when you watch him train, everything he does, he's thinking, because he has to. Because if he go into the ring, he get caught off guard, or if he make one little mistake that another fighter can counter, then fight is over.
Well, one of the big fights that I've noticed with Tyron is his fight against Robbie Lawler when he won the belt in 2016. You definitely could see how his timing, his speed, and his power all come together in one there, and then he won his belt. I mean, it's just about being mentally prepared and physically prepared.
And that's when you watch him too, because when he did that punch, he knocked him out, right? So when you see him do that, it was about exploding. So his training tips, like he likes to lift lightweight but fast repetitions, so he can be able to explode. And really getting off the mark quickly when you fighting in the UFC is a vital thing. And when you watch him fight, that's one of his things. He has so much speed, explosive speed and miles per hour speed, that's very important. And most people don't have that. And he had them both. Bruce Lee, that was one of Bruce Lee things, is being explosive, and then miles per hour speed takes over afterwards. So when you look at Tyron, you can see that in his training, all the things that he trains just for that. And
Billy, with training, obviously, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks out of a fight is probably the most important time, but you pretty much got to be in shape year-round, right? I mean, you can't be lacking and having cheat meals every day. You can have it once in a while, but how does it work to be in shape the entire year? Do you have to always be ready, whether or not?
Well, I think when you look at him, I guarantee you, he don't walk around no more than 15, maybe 20 pounds overweight. And as a fighter like that, I think when you start to get too much overweight, then your whole training camp is about losing weight.
Right.
It's not about training, it's not about fighting. It's about, okay, first 6 weeks, you got to lose all that weight. And then the next maybe 3 weeks, you work on your fighting techniques. And by that time, you're not really ready to fight in the competition.
Right.
So when you look at him, he's almost at weight. So he really don't have to do too much to make the weight, which is good for him. So when you see him go to his training, it's all about toning up, making sure his speed drills are good, making sure his reflex drills are good. And when you watch him in the tape, you're gonna see that everything he does is about speed, power, explosiveness.
What about the role cardio plays? Because cardio is not easy to do. Well, a lot of people say cardio is boring. I don't want to do it. I don't have time to do it. I don't want to just sit in the same spot running for the same time. What could you tell people about why is cardio the one thing that really helps help people get their heart rate healthy? Why is cardio the big thing?
Well, when you watch Tyron, if you watch him, he gets on a bike. Why does he get on a bike? To train different muscle groups. Get his cardio together. Why does he run? To train different muscle groups. Remember, when you get on a bike, you got to pull, your body got to pedal, right? So you're taking the weight plus the bike up a hill or down a hill, so it's helping him to teach his muscles to react to a situation. Then he goes and runs. It's the same principle. And then he goes and he does other things like jumping on benches, jumping over benches to help get that fast twitch muscle up the part and get the endurance in the muscle. Because his thing is about being able to have endurance in his muscle, make sure the muscle lasts long, and make sure he can finish the fight.
Totally.
That's what he does.
Well, speaking of cardio, why don't we go check out some of Tyron's cardio himself?
Yeah.
When you riding up the hills, and then you think it's over with, and you got another hill, then you got another turn to make, I think he's just dope because you get to push your cardio in a way that's not so rah, 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 and you get to really just reflect and think. I listened to some dope. I was listening to Rod Wave, man, his shit hard.
Who?
Rod Wave?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I was checking it out, and it just gave me a chance to reflect and think, so I feel good. And it's, hey, it ain't even 8 o'clock in the morning, we already got the cardio done. So it's all, like, you know, for me,
Yeah.
it's all uphill from here.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, Tyron Woodley back at you. I'm going to show you guys my signature punch. This is the punch that I made a lot of money with, a lot of knockouts, and this is one that people well know me for in the UFC. When I'm throwing my right hand punch, it's very easy to slip it. Boom. It's easy to parry it down with his hand, and it's easier to defend, especially when you see my body showing that I'm throwing it. So what I like to do is I like to do an overhand right, because an overhand right, it can be very deceiving. It looks like a straight right hand, because I don't throw it like a lot of traditional wrestlers. They just kind of swat it out. If I swat it out, he's just gonna lift his hand up and block it. Okay, now when he blocks it, now I'm set up to get hit and counter. So what I do is I make my right overhand right look like a straight right hand, and at the very end, I basically go around his guard, and I throw my body into it. I throw my whole life into it, actually, especially if I know that I got the shot. When I do that shot, it's really important. I don't do this all the time, but I want to try to keep my left hand up tight. There's something about at the very end of the punch. Now, I can start here, especially if you have good defense and you're fast. I don't have to always be here, so I might start it here, but when I actually land it, it's important that I almost lay on a pillow with my left hand. So now if I miss the shot, I can just come right back up and replace that power to another shot. So that's my signature punch. It's called the overhand right.
All right, Billy, well, we've covered so many sports and we've hung out with a lot of different athletes. And I have to ask you, food plays a huge role in everything, energy-wise, definition-wise for the body. How does the food that somebody eats translate into their sport? And let's talk, for example, about a fighter and then maybe about a football player or a basketball player.
Well, I think when you talk about Tyron, the way he fights, the way his body type is, look at his body type, you know he eats a lot of protein because he wants to stay lean, look good, performance-wise, power-wise. He wants to have that strength. He wants the muscle to be able to have endurance. And then he also eats carbs too. But one of his most things when he's training to get down in weight, most of those guys, they go more highly toward protein so they can start burning the fat.
Right. And that's very much different from when he's not in fight camp and when he can kind of keep that normal weight he has, whereas normally in a sport like a football or basketball, you have to really kind of keep that, maintain that weight year round, right?
Yes.
It's different for fighters. You have to go up and down.
Up and down, especially him because he has to make a certain weight, right? And because he has to make a certain weight, he probably walks around at a certain weight, and then fighting weight is this much. And so in order for him to get down in that weight, he'll have to cut back off of carbohydrates and more into protein, high protein diet, so he can get down to the weight that he needs to be at. But sometimes when you do that as a fighter, you might lose your energy to fight. And for him, it's been working.
Yeah.
You know, and for most of the UFC fighters, you know, they do that to get themselves down in the weight, and it works for them. And for a football player, wouldn't be able to do that. You know, if they try to make a certain weight and stay at that certain weight for the whole season, they wouldn't be able to make the season. Same thing with a basketball player. They got to play 82 games. So in order for me to just eat protein all the time and not have anything that's going to give me fuel to burn so I can run up and down the basketball court and not have that problem, you got to eat some carbs. So.
Oh, definitely. And veggies, fruits, pieces of salmon, chicken. What are your favorite foods in terms of, one, I'll say, what are your favorite lean foods? And then if you're going to have maybe more of a high carb meal that you're getting ready for a fight or getting ready for a game, you want to switch up your meal, what would you have kind of as your thought to what I'm going to have now for my meal?
For me, because in karate, because you got to be at a certain weight too. But I never walked around no more than 5 pounds overweight.
Really?
Always, yeah, always. I would never get 20 pounds overweight and try to lose 20 pounds.
Normally it's 20, 25 pounds
I
overweight,
would
right?
never do that. For me, I would never do it because I feel like at the end I might get the weight off, but I can't perform.
Interesting.
That's how I feel. But some fighters like to be able to do that. I couldn't do that. I have to be able to walk around all year round, maybe 5 to 6 pounds to weight.
And the type of food somebody eats, whether they're trying to gain weight, drop weight, get more energy, that plays a direct role into how you feel during the day. If you have more of a salmon and vegetables one day, you're going to be most likely a little bit less on energy. You'll still have energy,
right,
but not as much as you would if you had maybe a bowl of pasta with some chicken, right?
Right. A bowl of pasta, eat some fruit, stuff like that. And now they tell you, don't eat too much carbs late at night.
Right.
Because then it's going to make you hold water and fluid. So a lot of the fighters, like Tyron, he just won't do that because if he does, he going to stay big. And he got to get down to a certain amount of weight. And so he got to make sure he's eating that stuff that's going to kick up his metabolism so he can burn the fat.
And when they're running around in all these crazy trainings and fights and camps and weight sessions, I mean, there's not a lot of time, right? So if you don't have time to go get a meal, a shake is a great way to get your nutrients in food, right?
Shake is a great way to do it, but if you can, eat.
Real food.
Eat
Why?
real food.
It digests better?
I think it
goes to
digests
the body better?
helps you perform better. I just think for me, I just couldn't, protein, if I'm gonna eat a protein, I want to eat it out of chicken, fish, stuff like that.
Right.
That'll bother me.
How much of your striking is traditional boxing, and how much would you say is traditional martial arts?
Well, it's a hybrid. My base is boxing, so that's what I'm going to go to. If anything is hairy and I got to, slug it out with somebody, I'm going to go to boxing. But I try to use all different forms of martial arts to set up power shots.
Right.
So if he's in a stance right here and he's really tight and really, accurate, I'm not going to be able to just hit him with this stuff because these shots are going to be blocked very easily, very simply. Even if I try to get tricky and go to the body, he's going to block those shots and I'm going to be set up to counter.
Right.
So now I might have to use my body to do something different to come over here and maybe get a shot, just kind of mixing up the martial arts. Also, I can also actually touch the leg to get him thinking I'm going to go here. If he reacts to it, then I can punch. If he doesn't react to it, maybe I actually touch the leg and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and grab it. So I just put myself in a position where I already know what his defense is and I'm already set up to go to the next move.
What a awesome time that we got to hang out in the actual mind and eyes of Tyron Woodley. We got to see his belts. We got to see the way he eats, the way he trains. Billy, what'd you think, man?
It was awesome. Tyron Woodley, a running man, a training man. He moves like a butterfly and stings like a bee. No, he's not like Muhammad Ali, but he picks up and does his thing. Get ready. Watch him. He's the champion of the game.
For this episode of Celebrity Sweat, I am Jake the Trainer.
Billy Blanks.
And we will see you next time.